thank you everybody for kind of participating throughout, and especially in this last session here where we got to see everybody's context. I really appreciated that, and it was great to hear your guys' presentations there. Really exciting stuff. I'm just going to do a quick review of where we went with this course. It started a bit over 2 weeks ago. We started with Noreen giving a presentation on riparian areas 101 and riparian health, trying to answer what riparian areas are and why they're important. And we got Rebecca doing that activity with Google Earth Pro. And we moved into session 2, where we talked about goods and services of riparian areas. It was throwing out different ideas about what riparian areas can provide that are relevant to our context, and that got into some of the visioning exercises. And we also had you conduct a riparian health assessment of your areas and see where you were at now. And then for session 3, we were talking about, Noreen gave a presentation on different management activities of managing grazing, recreation, beaver management, things like that. What can we do to manage the activities that are already going on in our riparian areas? And then in session 4, we moved into riparian restoration strategies. So it also could be considered part of riparian management, but the tools are stimulating natural regeneration and planting to kickstart that kind of maybe tree and shrub growth or vegetation growth we might want to see in and around riparian areas. And that got into brainstorming strategies really relevant for our context, and then preparing and prioritizing those strategies in preparation for the presentation here today. And I mean, this is the same slide as I started with somebody's workbook that they printed off there for our in-person session. I'm really happy with sort of the presentations you were able to do online, and sharing PowerPoints and Google Earth views and everything like that. I thought that was a really neat way of being able to see your context. So I'm glad you found different ways of doing this. A riparian management course workbook was just one, and I'm glad there was other tools that were useful as well, and it's great that somebody used the workbook too. Moving into what the next step is thinking about implementing some of these ideas, and of course implementation is not sort of our plan development is not a once and for all project or process. It's a constant iterative process, one feeding into the other, implementing your results, monitoring, and plan revision. And potentially at the end of all this, you're still going to be in the plan revision stage because things are just starting out, and you can only cover so much in 5 sessions here, and that's fine. Take your time with your plans and before you get started to thinking about what to actually do. And when you get started thinking about what you do, thinking about upland areas as well. We focusing on riparian areas in this course because they're ecologically and economically really important, but they are also connected in many ways to the surrounding lands. We kind of use riparian areas as a little window into your properties and contexts, but obviously everything around your property flows into your riparian areas, or where things flow into. And so what happens upland influences those riparian areas, and things travel upwards from riparian areas as well, whether it's cattle who live around riparian areas, or biodiversity that the majority of which spend its life cycle, or part of their life cycle at least, in and around riparian areas. They're connected to their surrounding lands, and in the long term, it's great to start to think about your landscape under management as a whole. And getting into implementation as well, I want to highlight funding opportunities. So Rebecca mentioned earlier tonight that the Canadian Agricultural Partnership is a great source to look for funding for many things riparian, from tree planting to riparian fencing to crossing and crossing structures. I believe they have a whole bunch of different categories for, and you can look into them. The Environmental Stewardship and Climate Change Producer Program. I have a link down there, and like all presentations, we'll be uploading this concluding presentation online, so you can find it. So that's a great place to start. You just need to have an environmental farm plan, and this is one. So you have to go through the process of getting an environmental farm plan established. If you have questions about that, feel free to ask us about how to get an environmental farm plan. This is for agriculture producers, by the way, not so much for acreage owners. In terms of another option, county environmental stewardship programs like alternative land use services programs is another option for agricultural producers, ranchers, farmers, who, yeah, they often will fund projects, provide establishment cost funding for projects like riparian fencing, planting pollinator habitat, planting riparian buffers, and then sometimes they will pay an annual fee for that, for the acres that are taken out of production to provide those ecological services. If you go to the ALICE program website, you can see which counties they are in across Alberta. Unfortunately, Megan, ALICE is not yet in BC. It's across many provinces in Canada, but it's not quite in BC yet. But it's an exciting initiative that is giving a lot of support for projects on the ground. And then in Alberta, again, watershed alliances. Getting in touch with your watershed alliance is a really great idea. It's a community of people that are committed to trying to improve the water quality and moderate flood and drought cycles in the watershed, improve the health of the riparian areas and wetlands and water bodies in the watershed. So they often will know where you can access funding. There's maybe certain grants that are available, or they can at least provide education or connect you to the right kind of people. And then you can also, of course, just talk to us, Oz and Cows and Fish, for different funding opportunities. We often have links to them or know of grants that might be available and relevant for your projects. And in addition to that, I mean, we can offer various technical support on the stuff that we sort of presented on during this course. So riparian goods and services for Oz, how to stimulate natural restoration, woodlot management and planting. And we can also, if you're looking at doing a larger planting project and need help, we can help with the design and implementation of it. So we can provide kind of advice and guidance from the outside, or we can get involved and get our hands dirty and actually help you do it. We work with professional planters to get the job done. And then Cows and Fish, also mentioning education on all the things they talked about in this course: riparian health assessment, goods and services, management of grazing and other land use activities. They kind of provide education on a suite of different things there. And then they can also do riparian health inventories and range health inventories. So when their staff come out to your property and do a comprehensive, like basically a comprehensive version of the health assessment that we taught you earlier in session 2, and do the same thing for your upland range lands, kind of identifying all the different native and non-native species that are there, and giving you management recommendations to take relief. But I also want to highlight a really cool offer for you folks who have taken this course here. So we actually have funding as part of this grant to offer free consultations from Oz or Cows and Fish for any of you who have taken this course. And these consultations that can be over the email, over the phone, or in person if you're in Alberta. We will travel anywhere to where you are, and we can visit your riparian area, visit your site, see it in person, and give you more targeted advice and assistance that way. This is on a first come, first served basis until our limited budget is used up. So it's not unlimited, but there's definitely funding to be able to do this. And we will be giving priority to alumni like you who have been actively engaged in this course. Yeah, so if any of you are interested in having either Oz or Cows and Fish out, or just email over phone, just contact us, and yeah, we should be able to potentially visit if that's what you're interested in. There we go. And I just wanted to finish off by just highlighting some upcoming events. So for those of you who are interested in like talking a lot about earthworks and building water harvesting features, we are partnering with the Cohen Farm, Dakota Cohen, and Rob Avis, who are doing a webinar series on August 24th, 26th, and 27th. If you Google earthworks for cold climate water resiliency, it'll come up, and you can sign for that webinar series, just to highlight the kind of work that they've been doing on their farm, and Oz will be having a small part to play in that as well. And then Oz will also be playing a part in the field day on September 12th. That'll happen on the Cohen Farm. Well, I would say you can sign up for that. Well, I think the field day may have already sold out. It's sold out so fast, but at least the webinar series is still available, and the field day there's a waiting list for. A field day that hasn't sold out yet, we still have spots available, is Wetland Health Focused Stream and Pond Field Day. So this is in Beaver County near Tofield. And here we're trying to give you a chance to see what we weren't able to do online because we couldn't take you to an actual site because it's online. Well, here we'll get a chance to meet to sort of get in person, in the field stuff going in terms of riparian health assessment. Cows and fish will be there, helping with plant ID, and then doing a site assessment to develop a tree planting plan for the site that we'll be visiting. And we'll also just demo how to harvest and plant your own willow cuttings. So yeah, if you Google Stream and Pond Field Day and it's on Eventbrite, you should be able to find that. And one other last one to highlight that Cows and Fish is involved in, but not Oz, is a riparian range pasture walk happening in Lacombe County near Gilby Hall, and that's on August 25th. The other one here is on August 27th, so this is coming up next week. August 25th here, pasture walk. You're learning about native, non-native plant ID and about pasture and riparian health assessments and management strategies. So that's a lot sort of coming at you. I'm going to be sending actually a course evaluation if SurveyMonkey worked out okay, should already be pretty much in your invoice as of 9 p.m. This evening. And so please fill that out. You would really make a huge difference for us. We want to sort of know what we're doing right, what we're doing that could be improved on, and what sort of the impact of our course has been. And so we can sort of communicate that to, well, learn that ourselves and also communicate to funders and things like that. So please, when you get this email, fill out the survey, and yeah, your results will be anonymous from that survey, from the survey. And we're also, if we're planning on sending a subsequent evaluation around 6 months down the line. We're just interested to see, kind of follow up again, where you are at with your plans at that point, whether any things have changed. It's again a commitment to our funders to see the impact of this course. And so, yeah, particularly tonight, but then just something to expect 6 months down the line would be another quick survey. And we promise we won't spam you at all otherwise. It's just those two things. And if any other communication you want, well, feel free to email us. So just a quick presentation here. Thank you very much on behalf of Oz Cows and Fish and everyone who participated here. Really appreciate your coming out and joining us, and thanks again to the Alberta government for funding this event as well. And I guess we're all learning from the beavers at this point. It's time to get to work here.